I was in Punta Cana on vacation, because you remember when Gary Vee calls you,
Yes,
you know?
it's not a small thing. Hello again, standing here with Christine Beckwith. If you are on social media at all, chances are good you know who I'm standing next to. If you don't know who I'm standing next to, you're not paying attention. So, Christine, thank you very much for agreeing to come on with me for a couple of minutes. Why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself, kind of give a brief bio of your background for those that don't know you, and kind of what you're doing now.
Great. Well, hello everyone. I'm Christine Beckwith. I am the president of 2020 Vision for Success Coaching, which is kind of a new gig, about a year old. I'm a 30-year mortgage industry veteran, up through the ranks of sales. So I'm one of you, and we're here at the MBA Annual 2019. And like everybody else, I'm here to meet people. I'm here to learn what's new, learn what's evolving, and on the topic of social media, which seems to be like the hot topic, that is where I am most intrigued to see where things are going, how people are positioning themselves business-wise. Am I positioned the way I should be? Are the things that we're doing the right things? Yeah.
Now you're really big on social media. You've got a big following, a big influence, especially in the mortgage space. So were you always such a heavy hitter or always such a heavy influencer in mortgages?
It's a really good question, and I'm a really good example. So the average age of a mortgage originator is 53 years old. I'm 50. And I represent exactly the type of person that was not socially engaged at all. In fact, in 2016, I held a retreat for originators and business developers. And during that time, I kind of threw myself out there. And I always like to get in the trenches and challenge myself. And I said, okay, listen, I have 500 Facebook friends. I have an old LinkedIn profile that has about 1,000 connections. I know in order to get where I'm going, I need to get really engaged and involved. And I knew nothing about social media in any way, shape, or form. What I did is I began to Google and research, and within the actual social media space, the algorithms, and I took the free classes.
Nice.
So every single social media.
Free classes.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like I found an article when I was researching on LinkedIn that was written. And not by LinkedIn, interestingly, but it was like the top 28 things you should know about the algorithms on LinkedIn. So I went from 1,000 followers or connections. Today I'm maxed out. I've been maxed out for about a year and a half. I have about 55, 60,000 followers in the many social media spaces. And we're converting. I'm not ashamed to say that, you know, in the six figures marketing conversion. And so I share that because I think it really is important to look at the gap between what I just said, where I started, and where I am now. And people recognize me here, you know, that I have never met before, and I say, well, that's a really powerful thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the same thing with us, that after we did our rebranding and started getting really heavy into social media and getting our exposure out there, coming to events like this, you shake somebody's hand, they read my name badge, and oh, I've heard of you guys.
And I follow you guys, FYI, and your stuff comes up, so the algorithms want our worlds to be together.
There you go.
On LinkedIn, so that has to mean something, right?
Absolutely. So what was the time frame between when you got intentional about being on social media and being actively engaged with social media and to the point where you're at today with all those
I maxed out on the LinkedIn connections in 1 year from when I got intentional.
12 months.
Yeah, 12 months. And I'm going to tell you, I use people ask about this little tip, and this is, again, just my user knowledge. The suggested connections for LinkedIn were really big in that it said, you know, people you may know. And of course, LinkedIn is looking at what your job description is. They're putting people in your space that seemingly fit. And when I got over the idea of like not looking at every individual and seeing where they were, I just said, I got to trust. And I had read something that said, trust the suggested algorithms with the connections.
All right.
So I blindly started to accept 25 suggested connections.
Okay.
And what would happen is for every 25 that I would do, I would get 100 of their friends and connections, because LinkedIn sends a message that says these two people just connected. And so for every time that announcement was made, I had more people saying, well, I want to be connected to that person as well. So it just snowballed
Nice.
for LinkedIn. And so, I get some business from Facebook and Instagram. Instagram's new to me. I've only been on there like 6 months. Still figuring that out. Still taking free courses on that.
Understand.
Not
Talk to
great
Chelsea
on
Pikes.
Twitter. Yeah, my Twitter's like, really eclectic and it needs work.
Understood.
But I feel really good about where we are going and growing. I use Facebook ads. I have a professional page. Those have worked very well.
Good.
So I just say, I know there's there's 80% of the people I'm talking to really are reluctant at like getting into that social arena, and yet they are being pushed or pulled, whatever you want to call it, and they know. And I'm living proof. My life is really private. It's kind of a funny thing to say this. There are boundaries I've created, and I live a very private life. People are surprised at where I live, and I'm in a very private space. I show what I want to show intentionally. Yeah.
Understood.
Yep.
So would you say that LinkedIn's your preferred platform
It is.
out of all of them?
Yeah, B2B, there is nothing better, and it converts. I think the biggest thing that I learned is I actually watch, I'm a big Gary Vee fan, I'm not ashamed to say, and in fact, the ultimate thing would happen, this is like the big exclamation point at the end of the whole thing, is that I got a call from him in December of 2018. His team, I was in Punta Cana on vacation, because you remember when Gary Vee calls you,
Yeah, it's not a small thing.
And he said, his team said, he's looking at a real estate influencer moderator for Agent 2021 and thinks she would be the perfect person. I know that a lot had to happen in my world for me to show up on his radar.
Of course.
And so, I think I share that, not to brag or whatever, but to just really say, like, think about how fast that happened. And so,
Just
of course,
the impact of
that's right.
diving into that.
I think one of the other things I'll tell you is, bring influence positively to your networks. I write in a lot of the magazines. I anchor in some spots. And I think when you give positive influence to people, it's truly a gift. It's truly a gift. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like you're doing with me right now.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Christine, thank you. I don't want to,
Yeah.
know you got a busy schedule.
Yeah,
Got
thank you.
Folks to meet with, but thank you so much for taking time out with us.
Awesome.
Really appreciate
You
it.
guys
Great-
should tune in to Thrive.
Great chatting
I
with you.
do.
Yep.
All right.
Excellent.